This lesson is called Free Verse Poem. The essential question for this lesson is, how is poetry an art? We're following standards for writing and revising our work, and the objective is to identify and write free verse poems. What is a free verse poem? As you have learned, some poems follow a format and pattern of structure. For example, a haiku. A haiku is a 3-line poem. The first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line has 5 syllables. It cannot be considered a haiku unless it follows this format. A cinquain is similar. A cinquain is a 5-line poem, and each line has a particular function. Finally, a sonnet is a 14-line poem with a particular rhyme scheme, and each line has to have 10 beats per line. These poems adhere to a pattern of structure and format. Free verse poems are poems that do not follow a particular format. In free verse poems, there is no required structure, rhyme scheme, or rhythm. In a free verse poem, you can be creative and play with sound, devices, spacing, and structure. This slide contains 2 examples of free verse poems. The first one is by Langston Hughes. Let the rain kiss you. Let the rain beat upon your head with silver liquid drops. Let the rain sing you a lullaby. The rain makes still pools on the sidewalk. The rain makes running pools in the gutter. The rain plays a little sleep song on our roof at night, and I love the rain. See if you can spot the literary devices within that poem. There are at least 5. Another example of a free verse poem is by Fern. It's called Autumn. Wind blowing briskly, leaves fall from the trees. We rake colored leaves in a big pile and jump. What devices can you see within this poem? Try to spot them. Your final unit test is upon us. It's your chance to show me that you've understood this poetry unit. You can identify literary devices, and you can write your own poem. The first step is to write your own poem and incorporate 5 devices from the list here. I want you to underline each device and name it, just like you've been doing throughout the past 3 weeks. I highly recommend you have this chart in front of you as you construct your poem. As an example, I've chosen Langston Hughes' April Rain Song to show you how to go about this. In front of you, you'll see his poem. I've underlined the literary devices, and I've also shown you what they are. Let the rain kiss you. That's an example of tactile imagery and personification, because rain can't kiss. Line 2. Let the rain beat upon your head with silver liquid drops. That's an example of tactile and visual imagery. Tactile for touch, and visual imagery for silver liquid drops. Let the rain sing you a lullaby. That's an example of personification because the rain can't sing, and also auditory imagery because it's singing you a lullaby. It's appealing to your sense of sound. The rain makes still pools on the sidewalk, and the rain makes running pools in the gutter. Those are both examples of visual imagery. The poet is painting a picture for you of the rain and what it's doing. The rain plays a little sleep song on our roof at night. That's auditory imagery because you can hear it playing this little song, the pitter-patter at night perhaps. It's personification because the rain can't actually play a song. And it's also alliteration. Sleep song. The S sound is repeated. Sleep song. I also noticed that the first 3 lines start with the word let. The second set of lines starts with the. So there's repetition with the word let and the word the. So the devices used in this poem include tactile imagery, personification, visual imagery, auditory imagery, repetition, and alliteration. Did you catch that when we first looked at this poem? Your goal is to create your own poem, and as this model shows, underline and identify the devices you implemented. How will you be graded? Remember that this is a test, so it's worth 100 points. It weighs heavily in your pod. I would love for you to earn an A. A criteria is the following. The poem is well written and effectively incorporates 5 literary devices. The student highlights and identifies each device. What do I mean by that? You've underlined and you've told me what the device is. A B criteria would be that the poem is well written and incorporates 4 literary devices. Again, the student highlights and identifies each device. C criteria. Now, the poem needs improvement. It may not effectively incorporate literary devices, or the student does not highlight the devices. That's not showing me that you understand how to integrate devices or identify them. D criteria would be the student response shows little understanding of the task and the ability to connect to the devices with writing. It would be a recommended redo, but feel free to attend Cyber Cafe for additional support. And finally, an F would be insufficient effort and little attention to task, objective. Please redo. Feel free to attend Cyber Cafe for additional support. Let me know if you have any questions on your final unit test. Have fun.